Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today. My name is Gabriel Cox and I equip first-time supervisors with necessary leadership tools. Before we get started, I would like to invite you to head on over to my website and subscribe for a free resource. The ultimate guide to identifying what type of leader you are in 5 easy steps. While you are there, you can check out my Goat Locker, which is a place where you can get free tools to help you develop as a supervisor. Hey, what's going on everyone? I'm excited to be bringing you this podcast this week, and I hope you enjoy it. So let's get started. So I don't know if this is a seasonal thing, but it's an issue. This issue has started to pop up with those who I've been connecting with. Some high-functioning individuals find themselves feeling like frauds. Of course, we don't show that to anyone except for those who are closest to us, and rarely do they know what's really going on, or much less what's really going on or how to respond. So I want to talk about the imposter syndrome. And what is this? What is the imposter syndrome? It's a psychological phenomenon that is a belief that you're inadequate and incompetent, and in a lot of ways a failure, despite the fact that you have no empirical evidence to suggest otherwise. What I mean here is exactly that. I go to work every day and I feel like a fraud. I shouldn't be in this position. Why did I get this promotion? Things like that. It takes place in many forms, depending on your background, personality, and your circumstances. So I was doing some research on the topic, and I found that Dr. Valerie Young categorized this into 5 subgroups, this imposter syndrome. The first of the subgroups is the perfectionist. The perfectionist sets high expectations and goals and standards for themselves. And when they fail to reach the goal, they experience self-doubt and often worry about measuring up. These types of leaders can be control freaks and feel that if they want something done, they have to do it right themselves. So a couple things that you can think of if you want to identify if you are a perfectionist. Have you ever been accused of micromanaging? I've gone over a couple times what micromanaging is, what my definition of micromanaging is. There's a fine line in my opinion. But have you ever been accused of micromanaging? Do you have trouble delegating? What I mean by that is are you so used to doing everything yourself because you believe that you're the only one that can get it done right? It causes you to not hand out the work, which then can cause you a lot of stress and anxiety because you won't get anything done, which also helps the imposter build up inside of you. And finally, do you feel that everything must be 100% right 100% of the time? And if it isn't, then that is where your imposter starts to creep up. So a couple key things to keep in mind here. Success is rare because you feel like you can always do better. And you have to be able to own and celebrate your achievements. So a couple tips that you can do if you are a perfectionist. You can learn to take mistakes in stride. Understand that every mistake is an opportunity to learn. The truth is that there's never a perfect time, and your work will never be flawless. So the next subgroup is the Superman or Superwoman. They push themselves to work harder because they believe that they are phonies compared to all of their colleagues. They push until they can't push anymore. The reality is that they are covering up for your own false insecurities. The impact is also burnout, and it can cause strained relationships. If you feel that you have to push in order to keep up with your colleagues, you can really have a great impact on your relationships by forgetting about them, to be quite honest with you. So how can you identify if you are a Superman or Superwoman? Do you stay later than everyone else regardless of the impact on your significant others? Meaning, do you stay at work later? Are you working harder, longer hours? Do you get worried when you're not working and get no downtime? What I mean by that is when you are at home relaxing, are you working when you should be relaxing? Again, I talked about sharpening the saw, Stephen Covey sharpening the saw. When you're trying to take time for yourself, are you worried about the work that you're supposed to be doing? And tied into that, what time are you taking for yourself? So what do you do about the Superman or Superwoman? One, you have to recognize that you're addicted to the validation that comes from working. And what I mean by that is you feel great. You need that validation by getting your job done. You need to become more attuned to that internal validation and nurture your inner confidence. Own who you are. Recognize you are really good at what you do. Push doesn't cause you to be better. In fact, it does just the opposite. The next subgroup is the natural genius. This type of imposter believes that speed is key, and if something takes too long to complete, then they are a failure. They set the bar impossibly high, like the perfectionists, but don't judge themselves based on ridiculous expectations. They judge themselves based on speed and how fast they can do it. So, a couple ways to see if or identify if you are the natural genius. Do you have a track record of straight A's? Have you ever been told that you were the smartest one in the group? And do you dislike the idea of having a mentor or someone who has guided you throughout your career because you feel that you're smarter than everyone else? What do you do about the natural genius? One, you got to see yourself as a work in progress. Understand that you can't know everything all at once. Every day is a time for opportunity and learning. You want to focus more on living in the now instead of always chasing your dreams. And oftentimes I run into folks that do just this. They're more worried about getting to the top of the mountain rather than enjoying the switchbacks it takes to get up there. And rather than beating yourself up when you make mistakes, do you identify a specific behavior that you want to change? The next type of subgroup is the soloist. If they ask for help, then it reveals that they are a phony. So you do everything by yourself. And this causes them to work alone. Not that they work better alone, they just work alone. Because if they ask for help, they're a phony. And to identify if the soloist is your type, do you feel that you need to accomplish things on your own? Or do you often find yourself saying, I don't need anyone's help? These are ideas, or these are ways that you can identify if you are one of the soloists. So the expert, they measure up their competence on who and how much they can do or know. They believe they will never know enough and therefore be exposed. So is this you? Do you shy away from jobs? Do you shy away from job openings because you don't meet every single requirement? Are you consistently seeking out training, certifications because you need to improve your skills? And do you shut down someone who says you're an expert? So what can you do? In order to overcome the imposter syndrome, there are many pieces of advice I can give. The biggest is own and be comfortable with your strengths. This can be incredibly challenging. You want to break through your interpretations and assumptions. I learned in coach training school that interpretations is the story you're telling yourself. There's no evidence to say something is not happening, and assumptions are based on the past. When the interpretations and assumptions are kicking your butt, ask someone what they see in you. These are ways that you can overcome this imposter syndrome. If you'd like to know more, I challenge you to reach out to me. You can call me or visit my website, www.jlcoxcoaching.com. Next week, I have a really big announcement, something super exciting that I'm really excited to be sharing with you all. Enjoy. Have a great day. Thank you. Thank you for listening to today's podcast. If you are a supervisor who is currently looking for leadership development, log on to my website and click the Work With Me link and fill out the application to qualify. If you know someone who may benefit from this podcast, please share it with them.